Hello all. So after my little rant on Facebook the other day, I got inundated with a lot of questions about online teaching and online learning, which actually wasn't what my rant was initially about, but then there was just far too many questions and too much to answer. So I decided to do a quick video about online training and online learning, how we should and shouldn't do it, and what it is really based for, and who it's for. Really, it's not really for everyone. Some people agree with it, some people don't. Some people can easily learn off online courses, and some just need that face-to-face training, one-to-one training, or group training. So I'm going to walk you through about 13 different questions that keep popping up and things that I keep getting asked, and hopefully this will answer all those questions. I'm going to keep this video very brief. I do talk fast, you all know that. But rather than me writing the same answer over and over again, I could just refer people back to this video and you can all watch it and hopefully get a bit of a handle on online training. So with that, let's start answering the first questions. So the thing that is always being brandished about is that people shouldn't be learning online, that people should be doing face-to-face courses, and it's all very well, but we're moving into the 21st century. We date online, we shop online, we do all our taxes online, we communicate with our customers now online. So most of what we're doing is physically online. Now, this whole moving our training online has been a bit of it sort of exacerbated during COVID and when we went into lockdown. And, a lot of people are for it, a lot of people are against it. And there's people that say, well, actually, I'm capable of learning online, I can pick up a new skill online. And then there's other people that need, obviously, more hand-holding. And either of those students, your requirements in a learning environment are fine. You can get 8 people on a class and they all have different learning needs. Some students pick things up straight away. Some students need that little bit of extra help, and that's okay. But that's what trainers are there for. That's what teachers are there for. We're here to guide you. But this whole thing that people are learning online, it's terrible, it's a shock, has really exacerbated over the last couple of years, and that's probably more down to the quality of the courses that are being thrown up line and the content as well, and which we'll get into in a little bit more detail. But online learning and distant learning is nothing new. This has been going on for many years. Even it predates the internet. And even in the beauty industry, it predates the internet, where people were doing correspondence courses, where you would receive documents through the post with coursework, and you would read through it, and then you'd fill out some tests and send them back, and they'd mark them, then they'd send you the next lot of manuals. So this isn't nothing new. This has predated the internet, and this has been going on for a very long time. And actually, you've probably been doing this all your life. You've watched YouTube and you've watched TikTok, and you see all these different things, and everything that we do on a daily basis is pretty much learning. So distant learning and online learning, it's not a new thing, and it's never going to go away. So we've got to start to embrace this very quickly, but in the right way. And it has to be done in the right way, where we have to educate each other on what is acceptable and what isn't. So, we can sit here and be against online. I personally think online is a great thing. I think it's absolutely amazing. It's going to completely change the way we do things in our industry, and training will be better because of it, but it has to be done the right way. So with that, let's look at the next question. So a lot of people will say, I've done online training and it wasn't for me, it wasn't great. And it might not be, because not everybody can learn online. And certain skills can take a long time to pick up in the classroom as well, especially things like microblading and micropigmentation, even skills such as needles with filler and Botox. One of the reasons I don't do filler is because I'm so heavy-handed and I get so bored. I can't sit there counting down in like your percentages and things like that, and your mils or whatever. I can't remember even the word for it, and I teach this sometimes, not filler or Botox, but I teach injections. But as you're working down the units, that's the word for it I can think of, that just bores me to tears, and I just couldn't do that in such a small minute thing with lip filler and stuff. So for me, I know my own limitations and I know what I can and can't do. Same with micropigmentation. It's okay, I can do it, but I'm not that great at it, so therefore I just avoid it altogether. But a lot of people are doing online courses and they're not getting out of them what they thought they were going to get out of them, or they think that people shouldn't be doing online courses, that were working in accounts last week or working in Tesco's, and then they've suddenly during lockdown retrained online and become a aesthetic practitioner. And yes, I completely agree, and I see the points of view from that. So we've got to understand that online learning is a brilliant thing for the industry. It really will improve standards, it will improve the way we do things, it will give us a platform to learn more, but it has to be done correctly. Now, obviously, we can sit here and go, well, online training doesn't always give the same experience in a classroom. Yes, that's also true, but in the same aspect, you're going to get people that will take to online training, but then you'll also get people who can sit in a physical course and not get the best out of the class because they maybe miss things, or they can't concentrate long enough, or they maybe feel intimidated by other people on the course. So there's pros and cons for everything with this. And at the same instance, if you're doing an online course, if you've just got rows and rows and rows of reading, it is absolutely boring. But then on the other hand, if you've got it as a video form, like in what I'm doing now, we're talking over a PowerPoint, then again, that could bore someone to tears and they might not take anything in. So you really got to look at going back to your teacher training and thinking about how am I going to be able to appeal to all kinds of students and get the best out of them. And that will be having handouts that they can read, workbooks that they can work through, videos that they can listen to, physical videos that they can watch to see the treatment and stuff like that, so that people get the best out of the course. And it's the same when we're teaching in the classroom. We have to have a visual aid such as a PowerPoint that the students can read. They have to have their manual there that they can read and write notes from, and then obviously they've got you talking, and then they can obviously ask questions. Now, the only downside with online training is that you don't get that ability to ask questions. Now, I use online training as a fluid way to deliver my courses, that I do online theory and then teach in the classroom the physical side of the treatment, because some things you can't teach online fully, and so you need to do that practical aspect with your students. And I found online training to be really beneficial for me in this aspect. I won't go into it too much because that's a whole different course for a whole different day. But in terms of what my students get out of it, is they get the chance to listen to the course, to make any notes, to do their own research before they come into the classroom. Now, what I've found is when my students have come into the classroom, and these aren't, people that I would sit here and go, well, they aren't, the smartest, or they haven't been in the industry long enough to have the knowledge. They're not them kind of students. My students have all been incredibly knowledgeable, incredibly clued up students, but they still come with questions, because sometimes what you can come across on video saying isn't always going to come across as well as you can explain face to face. So when I do my training, I always recap the theory. I don't go into it in as much detail, because obviously you don't want to bore your students to tears. They've already done it once. But I can recap the main points, the important points, the things that I think are really important, like contraindications and prescriptions and injection rules and regulations and things like that. So the things that are really vital. And at the end of the class, I say to people, have you got any questions? And 9 times out of 10, everyone goes, oh my God, you've answered them all, So, but that's what being a good trainer is about. It's understanding your limitations, understanding your students' limitations, and also making sure that you give, a wholesome learning approach to them, and give them a course that's suitable for everybody's needs and everybody's learning styles. So obviously, having it all online is great, but it's not going to suit everybody. But on the other hand, the biggest bonus of online learning is that your student can come back to the course time and time and time again. How many guys, have done courses and you've forgotten the theory, you've forgotten how to do something, what's the steps of this, what did she say about that, I can't remember. Because it's all very well having a manual, it's all very well taking notes, but sometimes that thing that was lost in translation isn't then written down, or because you've not maybe written it down right, or you just didn't take notes at the time because you're too busy paying attention to your trainer. So we all sit there and we all film courses now. So I don't know how many of you have been on courses recently, but when you get the practical side, everybody scrambles to get the cameras out. Please can I record it? Please can I record it? And this is an amazing tool, because by them recording you demonstrating a treatment, they can go back and re-watch it over and over again and go, actually, I've seen how she's done that, and I've seen how she's done that. And actually you then need to support your student far less, because they've already got everything there that they can just refer back to. In regards to like your sort of online training, if you're delivering online courses that are part theory, part practical, that they've got to do face to face, or even if it's all online, the beauty of online is your students can watch it over and over and over again until they get it, until they understand it. And for many of us, that's a godsend, because I don't know about you, you're probably smarter than me, but I can go and do a course and I can completely forget everything the tutor said in the afternoon, by the afternoon from the morning, especially if I've not eaten. So I will forget, or if I've eaten lunch, then I'm tired. It does sort of go from your head. So there is that benefit there, and the same as in a classroom. Your students can go to shit, basically. How many of you have had the best injectors in your class, or the best students in your class, and they just absolutely fall to pieces on your course? They can do that on an online course as well. So teaching online doesn't necessarily mean they're getting a worse experience. Sometimes it can be a better experience for them. But you could teach them in the classroom and they could be absolutely perfect, and then they can go out into the big wide world and they could make the biggest mistake ever. Again, there's still risks. They can perform well on the day and might not perform well after the course. And even Ofqual are happy with people teaching online. They were happy with theory being delivered online during lockdown. The universities are still delivering online training via Zoom and via PowerPoints and things. So we are moving towards this. I don't see universities, I don't see schools, and I don't see a lot of the colleges and other institutions pulling away from using online tools now as a major resource as part of the learning experience for students. So we have to accept that online education is the future of learning for everybody, whether you are a college student, university student, school student, and we've all been learning online, as I said, for years. It's nothing new. We've probably watched 1,000 YouTube videos. What is the difference? It's quicker to deliver your course over, so if somebody's busy and they can't take a day out to come and do a training course, this is a quicker way to get information, and it's also affordable for students to update their skills. It's quicker for us to get down industry knowledge very, very quickly. And it lowers the cost of business overhead. So if you've got a product line, if you do spray tan products or skincare products or whatever, you can do product training via online learning and machine training via online learning and be able to get to more students. You'll be able to offer free training because you've not got people having to physically leave your premises or physically have people come to your premises in order to teach them. And also with things like product training, for those of you who've done maybe LMS training, a lot of their training now is online, and that's great because there's a lot of products to remember. And for those of you that are old school and have done product training from years back, trying to remember what the hell is in every single product and what every product does, it's especially if there's 20-30 products in a range, is absolutely a nightmare. So this whole bringing things online, it's going to happen, and it is for the best. But there's got to be a right way of doing it and not doing it the wrong way. And all these costs are ultimately going to be passed on to us. If companies are saving money not teaching us face to face, then ultimately we do get to save money there. But like I say, your students have always got that benefit then of coming back and revisiting the course. They can rewatch the course if they've gone on maternity leave, if they've had time out, if they've not picked up the treatment in a long time. They can just quickly go back onto your course and recap, and it saves you a lot of time having to handhold a client or student, to say and go back over things, and to go back over contraindications, or to go back over risks, or to go back over the prescribing information, or whatever. It can all be there on your online course. And actually people are too lazy sometimes to pick up the training manual, to read through the training manual, and they much prefer sometimes finding that information on an online course. But yes, they may still also text you or contact you, and that as a trainer is all part and parcel of your aftercare support. As I said, learning distantly isn't anything that we've been doing new. We've been doing this all our life. From the minute that you started to read, you was learning distantly. Nobody was talking to you, nobody was telling you anything. You was reading from a book and learning. We read recipe books, we learn from recipe books, we learn how to do things with our car. We do everything via distance learning. So this is absolutely nothing new. When you've picked up trade magazines, you've been learning from there. If you've been reading blogs, you've been learning from there. If you've been watching videos on YouTube, you've been learning skills from there. So everything that we do, we've been distantly learning, and none of these come with a certificate. None of these come with something hard or physical to say that you've learned that. So if you're advising your client to drink more water, where did you learn it from if you didn't learn it from college? If you know that certain supplements help with certain skin conditions, where did you learn that from if it wasn't a nutrition course? So these are all hints and tips, that you've learned to use this kind of cleanser instead of that one, or you've learned how to do this treatment and incorporate it with another treatment, like say microdermabrasion and high frequency, because it will help with acne, or that you're going to use salicylic acid to aggravate a peel, to go deeper, things like that. These are things that you could pick up from online learning. And none of that is certifiable because you've picked it up online. As long as you've got the base qualification, there's absolutely no issues with you using that information, and your insurance company will still cover you. So all this online learning that you've already done, what, you're going to just forget that? You don't need to forget that, because that's all part and parcel of the learning journey. That's all part and parcel of continued professional development, and it's part and parcel of us improving as an industry. So I get asked this a lot, like, if people want to invent a treatment or a technique or something like that, where do they get their certificate from? And the truth is, they actually don't. The first person that invented a treatment or invented a method of something, or whatever you want to, whether it's body wraps, spray tanning, they don't have a certificate. They weren't accredited. They possibly weren't insured to then go and deliver that onto somebody else. So this whole teaching thing of you've got to be certified and accredited and things like that, a lot of it is holy moly. We set that as a standard. It's what some of the insurance companies set a standard, but actually the first person that set a course up wouldn't have had the certificate, they wouldn't have had the accreditation, and they probably wouldn't have been insured unless they've managed to get it underwritten by an insurer. So there's lots of things. I've invented courses, I've brought courses out, and I can tell you hand on heart that the certificates I don't have, but my courses were accredited for me to deliver onto somebody else. So that's the way it generally works. So if you are wondering on that point, then obviously there you go. That's how it basically works. But more often than not, the people that do design the courses will have underpinning qualifications. We'll get into that a little bit later on as well. But the only other thing that I would say about online training is that when you're learning new skills or you're learning things online, is that person certified or qualified in order to teach? Because people teaching online will probably be less likely to have teaching qualifications. Hopefully most of them will, but some people won't. Some people will be just slipping by the net, and they might not all have the qualifications in order to teach you that particular treatment as well. How do you get around that? The first thing obviously would be to make sure that the course is accredited, because hopefully the accreditation company has done some due diligence and checked all those details before they've accredited the course. But not all accreditation companies are equal, so you need to make sure and find out which accreditation company is best for you. But definitely always check that your trainer who is teaching you the skills has either the course accredited and the course is insurable, or they are certified to teach as well, and that they have the base qualifications in order to deliver the course. But that brings me on to accreditation does not equal insurable. So just because a course has accreditation, it does not mean that you will go and get insured. That is a load of codswallop, and it's something that people blindly believe. And actually, I'm not going to get into accreditation too much. That's another rant for another day. But accreditation is basically where some courses should be checking the quality of the trainer and the quality of the trainer's manuals, and that the trainer is delivering the course to a high standard. However, some over the recent years have become a money-making scam and are not checking that information, and they're allowing basically people without teaching qualifications to teach, which is absolutely wrong. But don't think just because a course has a accredited seal on it that you will get insured. That is not the case. Even if the accreditation company is recognised by 10,000 insurers, it doesn't mean that your course is going to be insurable. And that leads down to several factors. It can be that you don't have the base qualifications for that course. It could be that you've not got enough experience. It could be that the course isn't assessed in the way that your insurance company wants it to be assessed. So these are all the things that you should be finding out before you book on a course, guys. And this isn't always down to the trainer. There's so many of you guys blaming trainers, which, yeah, I blame trainers for bad training, but as a student you also have to take responsibility for who you go to. So trainers shouldn't be doing a certain amount of things, in that they shouldn't be delivering certain courses, that such as the teaching qualification, if it's not off call back, that's a big no-no. And they shouldn't be selling you products that are illegal in the UK, but they do it. And there's so many things that trainers are doing wrong that we could sit here all day, but there's also so many trainers doing things right. But on the same hand, students have the same amount of responsibility to check and do due diligence before they book on a course. Now, there is one particular training school that has come under fire in the media, and everybody was absolutely on the attack, and everyone went, I will never train with that company again. And every single time that company posts, every student or every training academy and every beauty therapist is up this academy's backside going, I need more information, I need you to send me more information because I'm going to come and train with you. Yeah, a week, 2 weeks earlier, they were like, I'm never going to train with that person again. And they know the training is bad, and they know the quality is bad, and they know that they're not accredited, or the courses aren't accredited, or the courses aren't insurable. For most people, they just want a piece of paper. And then 2 weeks later, you're crying because that piece of paper isn't worth anything. So you need to go and do your due diligence. Don't just think because some trainer has created a Fit to Fly certificate course, or a breast enhancement certificate, or a brain transplant certificate. Just because they've got it doesn't mean it's insurable, and it's down to you as the therapist to check this before you book on. I am a good trainer. I've been teaching for over 20 years now, and I still tell my students to go and check with their insurance company before they ever book a course with me. Because even though I know that I'm doing everything right, and I only teach a certain level of therapist, as in NVQ level 3 or above, it is down to your insurer, who then has the full facts on you. They have everything. But then again, most of you get insurance, you don't check your terms and conditions. Most of you probably aren't even properly insured, but that's again another rant for another day. But you need to just check with your insurance company that if you've got this qualification or you've got this certification, can you go on to do this? Do they accept online training? Is there any issues? And if they say no, it's a no. Again, a lot of insurance companies are going outright no for any kind of online learning, but they're not looking at the bigger picture here, that we are moving into this kind of new world where everything is digital and everything is online. So they've got to start accepting some form of online training. But I see their point. The only reason they are not accepting online courses is because the difference between them is so worlds apart. They're not great. Some of them are amazing standards, some of them are absolutely shocking. So I get their point, and they cannot sit there and review. And while accreditation companies, particularly one, which we all know about, they do not care. They will literally accredit your hamster to go and teach and do a course on a leg transplant. Okay, they would literally allow it. So in terms of that, you've got to do due diligence. Find out who they're accredited by. If it's a really bad accreditation company, don't touch them. Find out if you can get insurance. Speak to your insurance company. Now, most companies will have done their due diligence, as in most academies do their due diligence, in that you've already found out your course is insurable and you've spoken to insurance companies before you've even started to deliver the course. But sometimes that might mean that your student is with a different insurance company and they can't get insurance. So again, students, find out if your course is insurable with your insurer or with someone else before you sign up. Check the trainer out, check their accreditation out, check how long the course is, check what assessments they need, ask the right questions. Not all courses need assessments, not all courses need you to be handheld, not all courses need tests, but see what you want out the course. If your insurance company is asking for Zoom calls and for face-to-face practical, then you need to find a course that suits you and suits your insurance. So you've got to do your due diligence, and don't sit on Facebook crying because you've been duped, because you've not done those checks beforehand. You're an adult, you're not a child. You can do them checks, you can find out, and then you don't need to go on slating a training company just because you didn't get out of it what you expected because you didn't ask those important questions in the beginning. And I know this sounds harsh and I know it sounds rancy, but come on guys, this starts from the bottom up. The next thing is, everybody seems to think CPD is a qualification, and I don't know where this has come from. CPD stands for continued professional development. You see the emphasis on continued. So what are you continuing from? So if you've done a base course in massage, what have you continued from? If it's from Tesco's, that's not continued professional development, okay? You can't go from Tesco's and then continue your profession. You've got no profession to continue. You need to have the base qualifications before you move on to something else. And this is the one thing everybody seems to forget. And this whole I'm a teacher malarkey, when your teaching certificate is just that, it's not a qualification. It isn't worth the paper it's written on. You might as well just go and wipe your backside on £200 toilet paper, because you have thrown those hours away. You've thrown that money away. So stop believing everything that you're told from these 2-bit cowboy training academies that are telling you you're going to walk away with a level 5, level 6, level 12. They don't exist if they're not Ofqual backed. If it's Ofqual backed, they have to meet a certain set of standards, which is the National Occupational Standards. They meet them, they're going to deliver that to you on the course, and they have to answer to other people. An accredited training school, literally at the minute, only has to answer to themselves. So if you've got a complaint, who do you go to? Your auntie, your uncle, because they're the only people who are going to listen. Ultimately, trading standards won't do anything because it's business to business. So please, guys, stop all this crap on Facebook. I'm going to go to trading standards. Trading standards won't do shit. Basically, I'm not going to even be able to get very far with this on YouTube because of my swearing. But basically, you are down to, again, your due diligence. And if it's an accredited course, the only person you can complain to is the company. And after that, that's all you can do. You can go and moan about it on Facebook. It's not really going to get you very far. You can threaten them with trading standards. It won't get you very far. You can threaten them with legal action, but I'll tell you what's going to happen now. You're just going to throw more money after bad, and these academies know it. They've got you over a barrel, basically. When you've got a qualification, if you are doing an Ofqual back qualification, you can then complain to the awarding body. If they don't listen, you can go back to Ofqual and complain to Ofqual. You actually have a way of complaining and a way of putting over your issues and things that need to be changed. So if something isn't right, if you're taught wrong, if you're dismissed, if your complaints are dismissed, if they've not taken certain things into account, you have a place to complain, because an Ofqual registered training academy, or a training academy that is registered by an awarding body, has to answer to an IQA, which is an internal assessor. They have to answer to an EQA, which is your external assessor. They then have to answer to the awarding body's management and the board. And then if that still doesn't get resolved, then they can basically go to Ofqual. So there's a lot of people involved in the steps of making sure your training is right. So Ofqual has its place, and that is what Ofqual is. And I saw the other day a girl basically put, who was a trainer, I don't know what Ofqual is. If you don't know what Ofqual is, guys, you shouldn't be teaching, full stop. And if your certificate doesn't have Ofqual on the bottom of it, just rip it up, throw it in the bin, because it's absolutely worthless. Sorry to say, but it is absolutely worthless. So CPD is not a qualification. Stop telling people that it is. It's a certification. That is it. Nothing more. If you went to a doctor and you found out your doctor just did CPD courses here, there and everywhere that weren't regulated, that weren't tested, that weren't measured, would you go to him? Would you go for a breast implant or your butt lifts or getting your teeth done by people you haven't even checked the qualifications of, who've done CPD courses? Absolutely not. Guys, you want to go to someone who's got a degree. Why? Because you know that they've met a certain level of standard, that the university make sure they have to attain a certain percentage of knowledge in order for them to go on and do that course and to go on and do that profession. If they just did a CPD and it's a free-for-all and they could do an hour with, imagine a doctor going into some academy like what we do and learning how to do a gallbladder removal and a cesarean section and a boob job and heart transplant and, learn about 15 different diseases in 2 hours. But that's what you guys are doing. You're going to these training academies learning 10, 15 different things in an hour. Think about it. It just doesn't make sense. And okay, I know we're not in the same remit as a doctor and we're not cutting people open yet. Hopefully no one brings that course out. But you see where I'm coming from. If your doctor did that, you'd be bloody mortified. The fact is, your doctor doesn't do that. your doctor does things the right way, we should be doing things the right way as well. Now, that's not to say your doctor doesn't do CPD. Of course your doctor does CPD, because doctors have to meet a certain level of CPD hours. Remember, continued professional development hours over the year. Okay, so they have to do that in order to keep their skills fresh, because they need to learn new knowledge. Do you think that's face-to-face? No, most of it now is online. So there is this place for online training. So online really is great for learning those new skills. It's great for learning new methods and techniques. It's great if you've got a new machine and you want to learn how to use it. That's great to do it online. It's great for product training. It's great for advanced classes, so things like mesotherapy classes or mesotherapy treatments. And if you're used to working on mesotherapy on the face, why can't you learn online on how to do it on the bum? So there are places for it. It's not a great tool for learning everything, as I say. It's a great tool for learning master classes. It's a great tool for learning some of the more basic treatments, but ultimately you need to have that qualification to underpin your continued professional development. Otherwise, what are you? Who are you? You actually are just a person, a layman, with a bunch of certificates that actually don't mean that much. And when regulation comes in, and this will start with the councils, they are going to start requesting level 2, level 3 qualifications, off-call qualifications. And if you don't have that, your certificates on top of that are absolutely worthless. So before I get banned off YouTube for the odd swear word and I've not dropped an F-bomb though, so we're all right. But I get so frustrated with all of this. Not all training is equal, and this is the problem where they are, or insurance companies are accepting face-to-face training and not accepting online training, is that they believe that face-to-face is better than online training. And actually that's also a load of coswallop behind, because we all know that not all training is equal. Some of you have probably been on really bad training courses face-to-face and really good training courses face-to-face, and the difference is worlds apart. So when you look at it that way, you've also got to look that if you're training face-to-face, you can sort of push for better training. You can ask more questions. You can perhaps get more out of your tutor. Probably not if they're a bad trainer, but you can at least do your best. If it's online, I guess there's also them limitations that are there. But online training, again, some courses are going to be very in-depth and very thorough, and some are going to be a quick read of a really crappy bit of a manual and a video that doesn't really demonstrate anything. So you've got to remember that not all training is equal, whether it's on or offline. So we've got to stop this, online training is crap. Yes, online training can be, but so can face-to-face. It's just as bad, because it depends on the quality of the manual. You've been on training courses, you've had bad training manuals, you've had great training manuals. They vary, doesn't matter whether it's face-to-face or online. It goes on the trainer's experience and their knowledge. If somebody is talking from experience in a course, face-to-face, you're going to learn. If they've got no knowledge and they're on that course, you're going to learn nothing. If you're doing an online course, that same theory, that same experience, that same knowledge is going to come across to you. It also goes on the therapist's experience and knowledge. If you've got no experience, no theory behind you, no knowledge behind you, no understanding, that you are going to struggle, whether it is face-to-face or online. So this is where you need to have that experience, and you need to take your own due diligence, and you need to take your own responsibility for your learning. And then obviously hands-on practical. So people go, but on a face-to-face course you're getting online practical. Well, that's also crap, because how many of you have been on online courses and you watched a demo and you've gone off and you've practiced maybe on a couple of your friends and family, to how many of you gone and done face-to-face courses and never got to work on a client at all, or might not have seen a demonstration? I mean, I know, hands on heart, I've had it where clients haven't turned up, and I've had one student on a course, and you're kind of stuck. What do? You have to kind of do the best, and then you have to Zoom call them when they get a client in and talk them through, and it's not always ideal. There's no ideal situation, and absolutely no one on here can sit here and say we're the best trainers in the world. There's been issues and things on my courses and so on. It does happen. So there are those issues, whether it's online or face-to-face, and you're going to get them. You can't help it. And it doesn't mean that online is worse than face-to-face, or face-to-face is better than online, because actually the variables will vary whether they are online or offline. This is where we have to increase standards from the bottom. We have to increase standards of face-to-face training as well as online. So I want to talk about a quick case study that happened in lockdown. During lockdown, everybody started to jump onto online training, and some of you were absolutely smashing it. I know that for a fact, because a lot of you were telling me you were smashing it with online training. And that's all very well, because I think during lockdown people were bored and they wanted to learn extra things, and a lot of people were already trained face to face in courses, but they then wanted to do online training just to pick up some extra knowledge and just to refresh their memory and maybe learn new skills, because don't forget, in this industry things move very, very fast. So what you did 10 years ago isn't actually pretty much relevant today. We still work with microcurrent, but now we work microcurrent a little bit different than what I learned back 20 years ago. And skin peels 20 years ago are not like skin peels we've got today. So things do change and things do move on, and that's obviously where people wanted to do some online learning to refresh their memory and to learn and upgrade their skills. But obviously what a lot of people were doing was learning things that they had no business learning, where they had no base qualification, and that is where the whole industry started to unravel with the whole online training shouldn't be done. Now during lockdown, a lot of the insurance companies, including some beauty only insurance companies, were very happy for people to do courses online. Some only if they were accredited with them, some were like, it's a free for all. And then I think they probably realised that people were just doing everything they were, and academies weren't looking at the prerequisites that should have been in place, because a prerequisite is the same whether it's face to face or online, but online it's a little bit harder sometimes to see who's coming into your course. Now I just want to talk about one company that I've seen during lockdown absolutely smash it and make some crazy money. And for those of you that are aware of the hair industry, you might have heard of a company called Not Another Salon, run by a lady called Sophia Hilton. If you've not checked this girl out, go and check her socials. She's Hilton Sophia on Instagram, and she is a straight talking, no bull kind of business owner. She admitted that she was struggling financially with her salon before lockdown, and obviously lockdown really didn't help anyone. And so she started to move into the online training arena. Now this woman has come from 15 years of physical experience working. She's also comes from a family of hairdressers, so her grandma is a hairdresser, her mum is a hairdresser, so she's got all these years of experience and knowledge. And during lockdown she's done courses on crazy hair colours, on balayage. She's also done a lightning course. She also teaches people how to do social media. This woman is a fountain of knowledge, and what she does is absolutely amazing, and her courses are cheap. And I don't mean it in a bad way, because people go, oh, cheap training is bad, and then, oh, I've been ripped off with really expensive courses in the training. So again, it's really hard, you price yourself right or you price yourself wrong. But this woman actually prices herself at a price that anybody, including me or you or somebody who's just starting out, can go on and afford to do her courses and learn from her. And she absolutely smashed it around the world. I think she sold to something like 50 countries with her courses. Now her courses are all online. Could you imagine an insurance company turning around and saying, oh, you learn balayage online, if you get a balayage claim, we're not going to cover you, because you're covered for your level 3 or level 2 colouring with your highlights and your colour. So balayage is just another technique. She's done an advanced lightning course. There's absolutely no way that an insurance company would allow me to do the lightning course and insure me with no hairdressing qualifications. But if you've got the hair qualifications, then they're not going to have any objections to you doing this. In fact, this is probably better, because you're learning more safe ways to lighten the hair to get better results. So you're actually going to leave your client far more satisfied than unsatisfied, and less likely to end up with a claim. I actually think on the lightning course as well, she had somebody react to the bleach and have an allergic reaction, and she showed you how to deal with all of that. So it's really, really informative, really good courses. I think there's hours and hours of her time and her dedication and her work that goes into them for peanuts of money. But her courses are viral, her courses are very good, her courses are raved about. I don't think there's a bad review anywhere about her courses, because she puts the time and effort and energy into creating amazing courses, amazing content, and making sure that she can get across to as many people as possible and improve the industry. She's there to improve the industry, and that's just absolutely amazing. But there's absolutely no reason why an insurance company would turn around and go, well, I'm not going to insure you because you did a crazy colour course online, because the content is there and they've already got the base qualifications. And the beauty industry is exactly the same. So I don't understand this. The insurance companies won't cover online training. If you want to do a radio frequency and ultrasound course, or you want to learn a new technique with microcurrent, or you want to refresh your skills with microcurrent, why you can't have that if you've got your level 3 beauty. So there are, like I say, there are times and places for online, and I think we need to push the industry to do things the right way, and I think we do need to push the industry to have online training as a part and parcel of our learning journey. So let's just wrap this up. So what can be taught online? Because I get so many people go, oh, I want to do this online, and I want to teach this online, and can I teach? No, guys, come on, think about it. Would you trust somebody to do a dermaplaning on you if they've learnt it online? Would you trust someone to do micropigmentation on you if they learnt it fully online? There is a time and a place. Come on, you can't teach everything online. So what I would teach online is masterclasses. So if you are a micropigmentation artist, a nail artist, a massage therapist, a facialist, anything, you can teach masterclasses online, and there has never been a better time to launch masterclasses because the lack of knowledge in this industry is incredible. We've got people injecting filler and they don't even know the basics of skin. They don't understand. And this isn't medics I'm talking about. This is non-medics who literally done a 2-day course and they're now injecting. There is such a serious lack of knowledge for all kinds of different things that we need to be pushing out masterclasses. I know Russian lip masterclasses, they absolutely boomed in lockdown as well. So like I say, masterclasses. Now, again, if you're learning techniques like that, they should be covered on your insurance. They don't even need to be accredited, guys, because they should be covered on your basic certificates that you've already got, or your basic qualifications. Theory, 100%. I think theory should be moved online because it gives people the opportunity to study in their own time. If you've got clients with learning difficulties particularly, or busy lives, or who have short attention spans, then it's great for them to pick up online. If they do it, they do it. If they don't, that's up to them. But then you can recap it on the day on the course. And obviously they can take the manual home, so you're giving them the theory 3 ways, and then if they do forget or they go on maternity leave or anything like that, they can go back and recap. So it's brilliant because you get the best experience out of it. And I also think, after they've done the course or even before the course, you can put loads of demo videos on there of different clients, of different scenarios, so things that they might not have come up against in your class. I'm trying to think of good scenarios that we could possibly come up with, but let's maybe look at micropigmentation. I wouldn't particularly teach micropigmentation, well, I wouldn't teach it anyway fully online, but the theory 100%, yeah. But then if you've got colour corrections, if you've got people's eyebrows that have gone blue, or you've got migration, or you're changing the shape of somebody's eyebrow and things like that, you could do that as extra demos that people wouldn't normally get to see in a class. So that kind of thing is absolutely amazing. Same with a dermal filler. Again, I wouldn't teach dermal filler online, but you could teach the theory, you could teach the techniques, then obviously they'll have the hands-on experience inside the classroom with you guys. And again, you might get complications and things like that you wouldn't normally get in a classroom every time, but these could be shown on video, which is fantastic for the learning experience. And delivering your theory online gives you more time for practical, which is better, because the more that student studies the practical, the better they're going to be. And that's better. It's better, there's 5 hours of theory, 3 hours of practical. You could do 8 hours of practical. So you see how it actually has its benefits. It's also great as an introduction course. So if you feel like somebody wants to do a course but they're not too sure whether they want to commit, you could do introduction courses to that as well. So there is lots of things that can be done online. There's lots of things that can be taught online. If you've got an acrylic nail course qualification and you want to learn gel polish or gel extensions, or if you have qualified in tape hair extensions and you want to learn how to do nano rings and things, because you've got the base, because you've got the experience, because you've got the understanding of how to work with these different scenarios, or how to shape a nail, how to cut hair, how to avoid certain hair conditions and types of hair because certain hair is too thin to hold weight. There's so many things. Like I say, you've got to weigh it up, and you've got to make sure that person that is doing the course is capable of doing it online. And also, offer both online and offline. So if somebody still feels they need a little bit of help, you can do drop-in days where you can help them as well. So think about what it is that you want to teach online. Like I say, so many things can be taught online, so many things. But then there's, you've got to understand that there's got to be a prerequisite there in order to stop this basically being that somebody with no qualifications whatsoever goes straight in and does a micropigmentation or a filler course or something that could be, or like dermaplaning, could be quite dangerous. So what shouldn't be done online? So if you've not got any base qualifications, you should not be doing anything online unless it is just theory. If there's an only practical element to it, that all the practical is online, you really need to avoid it, and you need to not be teaching it. And there's certain things as well that I wouldn't want to teach: micropigmentation, microblading, because how do you know that that person is doing things the right way, that they're placing the eyebrows right, that they're not going too deep, that they're not causing migration, that they're using the right needles? So many, also you've got the health and safety aspect. How do you know that they're doing everything in a safe and sanitized way, or sanitary way? So anything that breaks the skin, unless it is an advanced masterclass, i.e. you're teaching an advanced mesotherapy technique, then that's fine. But if they've got no injection skills whatsoever, then I wouldn't be teaching those online fully. Sclerotherapy, oh gosh, I can't even say it. Sclerotherapy is one course I won't teach online. Fat dissolve is another, because even with 5 years experience of needles, fat dissolve has too many complications. So weigh up the complications. Sometimes you need these people to be in a classroom to see how the product has an effect on another person, and for that student particularly to get a handle on it. So again, if you are a student watching this, do your due diligence and understand what the hell it is you want out of the course. If you just want a certificate, do it online, but please don't work on the public if it's an invasive course, because there's far too much that could go wrong. But if you've got a lot of experience, if you vitamin B12 trained, for example, and you want to do vitamin C and vitamin D, there's no harm doing those online. It just has to have a low level of risk for you as a trainer, a low level of risk for your student or for you as the learner, and for your clients as well. You have to weigh this up and also as the industry, because the way the industry is going at the moment, it is going to become a case where there's so many things that will be pulled from us because it's deemed too risky. If you want to lose income like that, carry on how we're doing it, that's fine. But if you want to preserve the industry and preserve your income, we need to start making sure that we're learning the right way and we're teaching the right way, and we're doing everything that we possibly can. So if you feel that a treatment is too invasive, like skin peels, I wouldn't teach that as a basic course, but you can teach it as an advanced course. Facial electrics, I wouldn't teach that as a basic course if they've not got any facial electrical qualifications behind them. If they have, then you can go on and teach advanced techniques or new machines and new products, because they've already got an understanding of how electrical products work on the skin, and they've also got an understanding of the safety aspect behind them as well. And yes, I know I said I'd keep this short, but come on, I always go over. So this one is a question of people always ask me: should I teach online? Should I learn online? Do what's right for you ultimately. If you can learn online, then why not? If you can teach online, why not? If you teach online, it's a great way of bringing in extra revenue. If you can learn online, it will generally mean that you've got access to the online theory for as long as you want to rewatch, and you're also going to have longer time to do practical training on the day of your course as well. But if you are going to teach online, check prerequisites. If you are going to learn online, check your prerequisites. Check you meet the requirements. Give 110% to the course if it's being taught online. If you're teaching online, put 110% behind it. Assess if needed. So if your insurance company requires assessments, check how the course is assessed. Some courses don't. I don't assess my courses. I just physically don't have the time. So probably one of the reasons I don't get huge uptakes on my online courses. I get a few, not huge amounts anymore. But to be honest, it's not my main source of income, so I don't really push it, and that's just like the honest truth there. But if needed, you can do group Zoom sessions, you can do group, you can have 30, 40 people on a Zoom call, and you can just check that they're doing things the right way, but just make sure that it is the right number of people that you can handle. You could do smaller groups over 2-hour periods and do 2 or 3 2-hour slots a day, and get your students checked and assessed that way. And check your bloody insurance. I dropped a B-bomb. So, not an F-bomb, B-bomb, but YouTube again. So, check your insurance, guys. Check that you can get insured before you do the course. Don't go and sign up to something and then, 5 weeks later, after you've signed up and done the course, start crying on Facebook because you can't get insured. This is something you should check before you do a face-to-face course, never mind an online one. So check, because I've done it before, where people have come onto courses face to face and then told me they can't get insurance. It says all over my like website and on the pages and things, please check you can get insurance before you attend the course. But people don't, and this is what you should be doing. You should be checking you can get insured. And if you teach, check insurance companies will cover your course. Speak to them. It's not about you being accredited that means you're automatically going to get insured. That's a load of crap. The accreditation company isn't there to tell the insurance companies what to insure. Your accreditation company is there to make sure that the content of your course is there. They're there to make sure that you're doing things right. They're not there to go, yeah, that course will be accredited by the insurance company. That's down to the underwriters. So they're two completely separate entities. So if you are teaching a course, you need to speak to insurance companies and you need to say to them, I'm a teacher. Who would you insure for me teaching this course online? And if they say no one, unless you do an assessment this way or you have a practical day here, then that's how you will run the course. If you can find an insurer that will cover it, amazing. That's the insurer you're going to send everybody to. But if you've only got one insurer and it's an obscure insurer, and your student is with an insurer already that they're paying £1,200 a year to, they may not want to pay £1,200 a year to your obscure new insurer that will cover online training. So the more insurance choice that you have, the better. So speak to a few of them, speak to the main ones, see what they're happy with. Some won't cover it at all. But actually, guys, you've got to start pushing for this. There's got to be some movement. Send them your coursework, send them your content, show them that you're delivering 110%. Tell them who you are teaching. So if you want to teach a nail system that's a gel system to someone who's got acrylic, and say, well, look, they've already got acrylic, they've got the qualification, they've been, have a minimum of this many years or months experience, and we're just doing a conversion course. So that course they've already got should cover them, and they've already got experience working with nails and blah blah blah. So point out to them what they've got. If you're teaching a new method of microcurrent, show them that, well, actually, I want them to have a level 3 qualification before they even embark on the course, or they've already got a face-to-face microcurrent course that they've done, but I'm just teaching them the masterclass. So we can push this industry towards online in the right way, and your insurers will listen to you. As a student, if you ring up, they'll go, no, 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 no. But if you're a trainer, you can put it to them and say, would you cover the course? Here's the information. This is the level of standard of people that we want to train, and they will look at it. And the same as bringing out a new treatment as well. If you bring out a brand new treatment, as I said earlier, a lot of people go, who certifies these people? Well, they're not, but they go to the underwriters, they go to the insurance company, and they explain the treatment, they explain what it involves, they explain what their qualifications are, and so on. And then obviously the insurance company will then be happy to pass them off. But again, it's down to you doing your due diligence and making sure that everything you're doing is within the remits of the industry. Basically, you're checking everything is correct and right. So with that, I hope that gives you a little insight into all the questions that I get asked near on daily basis now about online training. I am not against it. I am totally for it. I know there's a lot of people completely against it, and I am against bad online training, and I'm against bad face-to-face training. Again, whether you're teaching or learning, whether it's online or face-to-face, do your diligence, do your checks, do your research before you book, before you deliver the course, and make sure everything that you're doing is right. So students, make sure, as we said before, you can get insured, that the course is accredited, that your trainer is a trainer and qualified with an off-qual certificate, not some AET CPD certified certificate. It has to be off-qual, and that they've got their own insurance to teach. Once you know that they've got all those, they've got good reviews, ask them how long the course is, ask them how it's going to be assessed, ask them what support you get, find out all this information. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get scammed, I can't promise that, but it will reduce those risks. If you are a trainer, again, forget that accreditation, just because your course is accredited, it doesn't mean it's going to be insured. Check the insurance, check that you can get your students insured for a certain level of prerequisite, check the prerequisites before your students book on courses, have your prerequisites very clearly set out online so you don't get any backlash from there. And try not to deliver invasive courses fully online like micropigmentation. It's okay if that student has a micropigmentation qualification and then they come to you and they want to learn a butterfly technique, or they want to learn an ombre brow. Fair enough, because they've already got those skills. They're just learning something different, like balayage. It's just a completely different skill, but they can learn that online because they know about correct pigment colours, depth, skin, everything. So there you go. That should give you a nutshell onto the whole online teaching process and what I think of it. You're more than welcome to disagree with me. I'd really, to be fair, I don't care if you disagree with me. We've all got our own opinions, and that's fine. You know, if you don't believe in it and you think it's bad for the industry, that's great. But unfortunately, the industry will eventually go down this road. So the only way we can do that is by teaching and educating people to look for the right courses, and to teach and educate the academies to do it the right way as well. So if you've got any more questions, you know, please feel free to contact me. I'd do my best to reply, but I don't have Facebook Messenger on my phone anymore. I deleted it because it just got too much, and so I don't always see Facebook messages unless I actually log into Facebook on my computer. And I don't answer my texts and calls as much now these days, so just because I physically don't have the time, because otherwise I'd never get anything else done. But if you want to get hold of me, please feel free to make a comment, and if I see it, I will definitely reply, or you can email me at salonexpertuk@gmail.com. Take care, guys. See you later.